Legendary comedian Lewis Black, who is taking on Spotify, urging the music giant to pay royalties to comedians. Our Maria Villarreal spoke with him earlier today and has this report.
So first of all, thank you guys both very much for joining us, Jim and Lewis. Let's just start really at the beginning. We're talking about Spotify. We're talking about comedians. But what is the crux of the problem that you guys are bringing to the forefront right now?
Music has had a great history of royalties being paid in a very appropriate way. For songwriters, composers, lyricists, they've been paid for decades for their writing. Comedy, on the other hand, hasn't been paid attention to. It has not been paid on the writing side. We're working to negotiate a writing or a literary work license for all of our comedians. We have over 300 comedians, and Spotify has just dropped negotiations and took a very aggressive move on Thanksgiving Eve of all nights and said, we're taking down your comedians. And so here's where we find ourselves. And
list those comedians for me so that, our audience truly understands who or what is at stake here.
Well, of course, today we have Grammy-nominated Lewis Black with us. Other members are Tom Segura, Tiffany Haddish, Mike Birbiglia, Patton Oswalt, Jeff Foxworthy, Roy Wood Jr. We have estates like Bob Hope and Lucille Ball and Don Rickles and Ralphie May. And we have also many up and coming and just wonderful comedians that what we're about is developing it not for just today, but for tomorrow.
Lewis, I was just down at the Comedy Cellar a few days ago, and I have to say, you need no introduction, but for those who just don't know, thank you again, Mr. Black, for joining us. I have to say, 2 Grammys, you're up for another nomination. Clearly, I don't think you're hurting per se, but really, is this about money or is it about respect? Is it about, break it down from an artist's point of view, what this is about.
It's about the fact that it took comedy a long time to be appreciated as a craft and as an art. I mean, like forever. When you're listening to a comedian on stage, they've written this material. And if they haven't written it, they've improv'd it and honed it and worked on it. And it's no different than, I've watched, you can watch a comic, you can go up to them and they'll have a book filled with hundreds and hundreds of jokes. For me, it's not so much a financial thing. It's also a way in which many young comics, which I wish early on for me had been the case, it just gives them a better income. And because working from club to club to club you're not making a lot of money. This is a way in which you can finance yourself until you are making the kind of income you want, and you should be making that income off the work that you were doing.
For someone who has been in the business as long as you have, this sounds personal.
Yeah, it is. You've got to say, no, you can't be pulling this. All we're really asking is can we just sit down and talk about this?
Jim, Spotify has released a couple of statements, and one of them they said that they have paid a significant amount of money for comedy content, and they want to continue to do so. Where is all this money that they are talking about? Where is that money going, and who exactly is getting paid here, and in what form? How does that work?
What they haven't been paying is what they have been paying to songwriters and composers and lyricists, which is the underlying writing. And so there's the 2 sides of copyright, and those are the value points that we're trying to fight for. We have been speaking to them, and we have been asking them to be a part of what we're doing, and they take this move, which is ridiculous in our eyes. In the music world, there are many performers or musicians that write their own material and perform their own material. And Taylor Swift is an example of that. And so she benefits from obtaining a royalty for her writing and a royalty payment for her performance as well. In comedy, most comedians fall into that category. They create and write their own material over the years. They build up their material. They tell stories, and they should be paid for that just as much as they are for the performance side or the performing side of their material.
I've said this. Spotify created, in a sense, was really great because it initially gave a place for all of these comics, especially the young and rising and the ones who are just on that border of becoming really well known, a place where people had access to their material, and it was really great in terms of that, and it allowed really a whole the world of comedy to kind of explode in another way, much the way Comedy Central had, and other platforms. And so in a sense, they created their own problem, because now that it's exploded, we kind of go, okay, you scratched our back, we scratched your back, now scratch our back. It's really, it comes down to that. My fear is that we would lose Spotify completely, and that's terrifying. I mean, I can't, that we need. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts. There are too many people who rely on it now, is that source of income. And I would hate to see that happen. Hopefully it would affect Spotify, and that they would, realize they'd made a mistake.
So you have all of these, let's just say millions of listeners that are listening to some of his content. They're making money off of him, but not necessarily paying him what they are bringing in. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. So, and actually it gets back to the point that was just being made too. Historically, music was played on thousands and thousands of radio stations. But now with streaming, with terrestrial radio and digital radio like Sirius and so forth, comedy is everywhere. We're seeing performers that have billions of performances across all of these platforms. And when you do the economics around what they should be paid for the underlying writing for those works, it is measured in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Our goal is to get started with them. Let's get started together, find a good point to begin, start collecting these royalties for our members and other comedians that will hopefully join in as well, and move on from there.
I would imagine that there are also some very young, up-and-coming comedians that are looking to you in this moment. What's your advice right now, Louis?
My advice is that you're hopefully get your stuff out there, and certainly we're going to do everything that certainly I'll do everything I can, and hopefully this won't be that long, because I think it's important that you're paid what you're worth.
Jim and Louis, thank you both for joining us today. We really appreciate the perspective, and good luck to you both.
Thank you as well.
We asked Spotify to clarify why the streaming service pays a royalty for musical compositions, but not for spoken words or comedians and other creatives. They did not respond to our multiple requests for comment.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.